Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to the NoDQ.com predictions video for the 2021 Money in the Bank pay-per-view. The WWE Universe is back, and at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, we will have 16 WWE superstars attempting to climb the corporate ladder. And will the risk be worth the reward? We'll find out at Money in the Bank. So anyways, let me throw it over to good old JM Jeff Meacham, longtime No DQ contributor. He has seen a lot of Money in the Bank pay-per-views. Jeff, on a scale of 1 to 10, how are you feeling about this show?
Considering all the factors involved, Aaron, it's very high up there for me. I'm at a 9, and I'm only not at a 10 because still Larry. Still, uncertain about things. And by the way, that was the shilliest damn intro I ever did here in my entire life. That was just tremendous. Well done, sir.
Well, thank you for that. And we haven't had him on the No DQ live streams in a while. We got TJS. TJS, you've been part of the No DQ team for a while. You've been following along with us for several years. It's nice to have you back with us. How you doing, my friend?
Yeah, it's great to be back. I'm doing well. I'm glad that fans are finally back. My interest in wrestling was at an all-time low during this Thunderdome era, man. So I'm very glad that we have fans, and I think it should be one hell of a show as far as Money in the Bank is concerned. Really looking forward to it. And also, I was planning on making the corporate ladder and risk being worth the reward jokes, but you stole my thunder, Aaron. Thank you very much.
Just had to do it.
It's a bad WCW show, not WWE.
And speaking of people that have not been on lately, Caitlin is with us tonight to give her thoughts on the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. Caitlin, 1 to 10, how are you feeling about this pay-per-view?
Actually, pretty excited, I guess. I'll put it to like a 7 or an 8. I enjoyed watching again on Friday. So yeah, I've been like sporadically or periodically watching lately. So, my predictions may not be spot on, but we will see how it goes.
Well, you're actually neck and neck with me in the predictions league. You're like second or third place right now.
I know. I just do well either way, I guess, whether I watch or not. I've got the brain for it. We'll see now for tonight.
You seem to have the Midas touch, Jeff.
So, quick question: we are sure this is Money in the Bank this tomorrow night, right? Because with her and I in the same show, it has to be the seventh sign of the apocalypse. It has to be Armageddon.
Yeah, you guys are almost never on together.
I don't think we've actually been on a panel together, her and I, on your channel.
Really?
And if it was a long time ago.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Guess it's been a while.
Well, like you said, you're not watching frequently enough where you feel comfortable being on. And I haven't been on anything that wasn't my own stuff at all lately. I took my little break or whatever, but people gave me crap for it. But looking forward to get back in the swing of things with this trip coming up. So if I might as well just dive in head first. And Money in the Bank's one of those where you got to dive in head first because there's so many random things happening tomorrow night.
Yeah, and there could be some surprises too. Let's get to the card. We have 7 matches, and we do have a kickoff. And by the way, to everybody in the chat room, feel free to type in your predictions, and I will post some of them up on the screen. We're going to start with the kickoff match. It is for the SmackDown Tag Team titles. We have the champs, Rey and Dominic Mysterio, defending their titles against the Usos, competing for the tag team titles for the first time since Jimmy made his return, and the Usos are now part of the Bloodline faction with Roman Reigns. Now, a lot of people talking about the idea of maybe we have the entire Bloodline holding titles. Caitlin, do you think it will happen at this pay-per-view in the kickoff? What are your thoughts?
I don't think so yet. So I'm going to stick with Rey and Dominic. My strategy is usually with the kickoff that it's probably staying the same. Every once in a while they don't do that, but I will go with that for this time.
Yeah, and you are right. Every once in a while we do see a title change during the kickoff. here's what I think is going to happen, because this is so WWE. It's going to be a match where Rey and Dominic pick up the win, and then they're going to challenge the Usos to a rematch on SmackDown or something like that. We just saw it literally this weekend. We saw Bianca Belair beat Carmella on SmackDown, and then on Talking Smack, Bianca Belair challenges Carmella to a rematch for the title, even though she beat her clean. So, yeah, I think Dominic and Rey Mysterio are going to win, and there's going to be a rematch. And then the Usos will win the titles. Not sure if it's going to be SummerSlam, but I think Rey and Dominic will retain. And, of course, by WWE logic, the feud will continue. So, going to throw it over to TJS. And remember, we're predicting who retains or wins the title. So, technically, the Usos could win, but I'm predicting that the champs will retain, as I think Caitlyn is. So, TJS, your thoughts?
Well, I think that since this is the first kickoff show back, they probably want to get people talking. So I have a feeling that the Usos are going to win the titles. Because they did have the opportunity on SmackDown, if you remember, and Roman Reigns costed them the championship. So I think that it's now or never as far as them winning the title is concerned. And then maybe you can set up that rematch for SummerSlam. I just know that Rey and Dominic are probably better in the chase since they're the underdogs, and I don't know. I just have a weird feeling that the Usos are going to pick up the win here, keep that momentum going. But that's just my thoughts. Jeff, what do you think?
In any other era, in any other situation, I'd 100% agree with Radical Romero's comment below me that the Usos would not win the titles due to Jimmy's shenanigans. But we've never been in the situation where Jimmy got in trouble for a DUI when Roman was Roman Reigns, the head of the table, tribal chief, whatever. I'm not saying they're going to win tomorrow because they're not, but they will become champions around SummerSlam. I agree with what Caitlin said. It's likely going to be at SummerSlam. I'm all in on that for paying for that show. I'd love to see them in either a kickoff or an opening match at the stadium in Vegas. I'm totally okay with that because those four guys are amazing in the ring. But yeah, any other time Jimmy gets busted, Usos go right down the freaking tubes like they have been because of the shenanigans that's going on with them. But Roman's in that lead program now, so they're going to be involved in the mix. And so I predict the Mysterios will retain tomorrow. Aaron, you put a poll up. What chant is the worst or the most obnoxious? You forgot one, I think, in your list. And both the Mysterios, if they do it, and Bianca, because she did it, it applies very well. Stupid baby face.
We'll see.
You done one. Thing, let it go.
Another thing we did not mention was the fact that Jimmy Uso recently got that DUI. I still think the Usos will get the tag team titles sooner than later, and it could be as soon as this pay-per-view. TJS could be right, for all we know. So,
I think if they weren't going to win, then it wouldn't be for the titles. I feel like I could see Rey and Dominic beating him in like a straight-up match with no stakes, but I just got a feeling. I don't know.
All right, well, we'll see what happens with that one, and now we'll get to the main card. We'll start off with on the other side, the Raw tag team titles. We have AJ Styles and Omos defending their titles against the Viking Raiders. Now, this one's a little tough for me to predict. I'm not really sure which way I'm going to go with this one, so I'm going to go last this time. I'm going to put Jeff in the hot seat and let Jeff go first and tell us what you think is going to happen. Good old JM Jeff Meacham. This is Omos's, I believe, other than WrestleMania, this is his first match in front of a big crowd. You know, he did do the WrestleMania match, and now he's doing this. He hasn't really had much experience. Will WWE continue this run for AJ and Omos? What do you think?
This is his first time in front of the crowd where they're going back to crowds full time. This is huge for him. It's huge for the team. It's pretty big for the Vikings because they've their momentum has definitely stalled off and on throughout the whole thing. I will say the wrong tag team title on the kickoff, and down goes Caitlyn. Down goes Caitlyn. So I think the Raw tag title match should be in the kickoff because it's completely unimportant compared to the importance of the SmackDown tag title match. I'll say that for the record. I think the champs will retain. I don't see a need to change the flow, the current flowing the way it is right now, because what does them losing the titles do overall for the Raw tag team situation? Nothing really, I don't think. So if they're gonna lose on a big stage, because AJ Styles still is a big star, even though WWE's kind of shoved him off to the side here recently. So if anything, they'll lose the titles at SummerSlam if they're gonna lose it soon. So they'll retain tomorrow.
Yeah, I agree with you, Jeff. I do think we are going to see the champions retain. So TJS, I'll throw it over to you here for a minute, and if I'm not back in a second, go ahead and talk about the women's Raw Championship match. TJS, go for it, my friend.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know what the hell is going on with AJ Styles, but this kind of sucks, man. This guy's a top caliber star, and we just have him in the tag division for whatever reason. I don't know, man. I just think that it's kind of lame because Omos is very limited, and the Viking Raiders are pretty much a comedy team at this point. So I fully expect the champs to retain as well. I think whenever they do lose it, it's going to be to RK Bro. But what is the end game here with this AJ and Omos thing? What do they want to do? Do they want to have AJ versus Omos? Like, I like to think AJ can get a good match out of anyone, but come on, like, what are we doing, man? Ugh.
Yeah, that was my original thought, was they were going to go until AJ got so obnoxious that Omos said, all right, little man, I've had enough of your ass, and just swat him down like a bug. But it hasn't happened. I don't see it happening based on the current direction of the storyline. So if it's going to happen, there has to be some sort of shift between tomorrow and August 21st for it to happen in SummerSlam. So, and don't be surprised if that's the way it happens. But it's completely unimportant. You know, it has no real substance. There is no sizzle on the steak of this match, so the champs will retain.
All right. Well, I am agreeing that the champs will retain, although I'm not feeling confident about it. And as Dwayne Atkinson said, RK Bro could be in line for a tag team title match at some point.
You're gone. That's the likely scenario, and I'm okay. Hurry, Jeff. I'm okay with that.
All right, Caitlin is back. She had a little bit of a wipeout. She was just doing her impression of the cameraman from SmackDown when Kevin Owens came off the ladder to the announce table. That was her impression of that. That she was paying tribute to that cameraman.
That's right.
Flashback.
Well done.
Did somebody throw something at her off camera or what?
Yeah, so I'll go with AJ and Omos. So I missed all the discussion, but I'm sure I agree with most of what was said. So we'll just stick with that for now.
Yeah.
All right, so that's the Raw Tag Team Titles match, and maybe it'll turn out to be an entertaining match. Who knows? Maybe if you keep your expectations low enough, it'll turn out to be okay.
And Josh, since you're a fan of both of us,
if Omos stays on the apron,
Queen, spell our name right.
Oh yeah, don't call him out.
I call everybody out when they spell my last name. Your first name's way easier than my last name. So,
all right. Next up, we have the Raw Women's Championship match. We have Rhea Ripley defending against Charlotte Flair. This is, well, a rematch from the last pay-per-view, Hell in a Cell. And you have to think about who is going to be facing the champion next. My gut feeling is it's going to be Becky Lynch. So will it be Becky Lynch versus Rhea Ripley, or will it be Becky Lynch versus Charlotte Flair? That's the big question. Will there be a title change? Again, I'm kind of not sure. And you know what sucks? I really don't care. I would prefer Rhea Ripley to retain the title, but I would not be shocked if Charlotte wins. So TJS, this time we'll put you in the hot seat. Your thoughts on this one?
Oh, please put me out of my misery with these matches, man. I cannot watch one more Charlotte versus Rhea match. Ah! But man, the build has just been so weird. I think Charlotte's winning the title, and I think that Rhea is like It feels like she's not even the same person from NXT, where she was just this complete badass. Now it's just like, I don't even know how to express it. She's pretty much just like, just another person on the roster. And I think that's a big, big shame. So, yeah, I think Charlotte's winning, and then I think Becky versus Charlotte is the money match for SummerSlam, which is another rematch.
What do you think, Jeff?
Well, yeah, it's one of those things like Dwayne says here. Remember we were all bitching about how often Randy Orton faced John Cena? Bet you we have one of those matches tomorrow now, huh? I'm gonna agree that the money match is the Raw Women's Championship against Becky at SummerSlam, but I think they're gonna send Rhea into Vegas. I think they're gonna have Rhea be the champion. Rhea needs the big match against somebody freaking else. She's faced Charlotte. She's faced Io. She's faced everybody they've put in front of her, which has pretty much been Charlotte, for majority of the pay-per-views. I mean, I hate to sound so facetious and silly, but it's true. That's the way it's been. So Becky Lynch returning. What I would do tomorrow is I would have Becky come in and cost Charlotte out of some sort of forgotten revenge for losing the championship the last time we saw her. Granted, it was Ronda that she pinned for the title, but she could blame Charlotte and they could weave it somehow because Ronda ain't coming back as far as we know. So she cost Charlotte, and then either Becky and Charlotte have their "you cost me, will you cost me" thing in front of 40,000 in Vegas, or Rhea defends the title against Becky in Vegas. Either way, the money matches with Becky based on what happens tomorrow. And I think she'll be a huge influence on the match, which will have Rhea Ripley retaining the title.
Well, I think she might show up, but I have a feeling she's going to show up after the match to confront the winner, and that's going to be the big cliffhanger leading into Raw. Alberto Gomez sent in a $5 super chat, says, Charlotte is winning here to face Becky, Cena and Orton all over again with these two females. Yeah, you might be right, and
lectures and they speak. What do you there you go. So
I'm just gonna say this. I want to see Rhea win. I think Becky versus Rhea is a more interesting match and not a rehash of Becky and Charlotte. But I'm going to go with Charlotte as the new champion. I hope I'm wrong though, but I'm gonna pick Charlotte. I'm still not feeling very confident about it though. So we'll throw it over to Caitlin with her thoughts.
I went back and forth, and I ended up going with Charlotte because I think that what?
I said I'm all alone here on my little island, and I picked against my girl. That's the weirdest part.
I think they never stay away from Charlotte for too long, so I think it's time to bring her back in. So I think they're gonna go that way. And there was something else I was going to say, and now I forgot.
Yeah, and it's been a while since Charlotte has been champion. It's been over a year, and for her, that's a long time, not having any gold around her waist.
She was tag champion.
I think this is going to be number 14.
That doesn't count. The tag titles don't count. I was talking about the singles world championship.
Yes, because we need to have her catch Rick in record time. That's what we have to have happen.
Yes,
exactly. So that's what's going to go down.
That's my girl I call bull.
Dr. NXT Scorpio sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, I never want to see Flair versus Rhea Ripley in a segment together or a match again for the rest of the year. I feel this feud is going to continue to SummerSlam. I really hope it's not a triple threat. I don't want to see another triple threat. It's got to be one-on-one. I'd like to see... Go ahead.
Especially because that's how Becky turned heel. It was a triple threat loss, and that's where she snapped. So a triple threat at SummerSlam involving two of the same three people.
Yeah. Just not a fan of it.
No. God.
And I'm still not even sure who I'm supposed to cheer for in this match or who I'm supposed to boo. Like it's just kind of a mess. Anyways, we'll move on from that one.
Just cheer when the match is over.
Maybe it'll surprise us and turn out to be a 5-star classic. Speaking of potential 5-star classics, we have Bobby Lashley defending the WWE Championship against Kofi Kingston. And will it be Kofi Mania 2? Will Kofi Kingston shock the world again and become the champion of all champions? Well, besides Roman Reigns, of course. The storyline in recent weeks, Kofi Kingston beat Bobby Lashley on Raw, and then Xavier Woods beat Bobby Lashley on Raw. And that led to Bobby Lashley getting pissed off, and he cut this promo. He was very angry. He said the bullshit needs to stop, and then he destroyed the MVP lounge. So, Caitlin, I'll throw it over to you first on this one. Will we see a new champion, Kofi Kingston? There are rumors that Bill Goldberg is coming back and will be Bobby Lashley's opponent at SummerSlam, but it doesn't necessarily have to be for the title. So what do you think is going to happen here?
Lashley's going to retain. I do not see this going any other way. There's not a whole lot to say about that.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm with you on that. I think the safe bet is just to say Lashley retains. Kofi's going to put up a good fight. Going to get some near falls on the champ, and it's going to be a fun match. But Lashley's going to retain. Jeff, anything you would like to add, or maybe go a different direction with this?
No, I'm definitely going with Kofi getting the snot beat out of him. Worse than we saw him lose to Lesnar, because that was only like 8 seconds, 4 seconds, whatever it was. It was that quick. Lashley's going in here pissed off. Lesnar went into SmackDown against Kofi cocky, determined, confident. Lashley's going in tomorrow ready to whoop somebody's ass. He's pissed off. He destroyed the VIP lounge the other night, and it was a destroyer. And that's why I said on social media, that's the Lashley I want to see go into SummerSlam and take out Goldberg, the destroyer. I want that Bobby Lashley when I walk into that stadium out of that ungodly heat and the air conditioning. Please, God. I want that Bobby Lashley to just run through old Billy Boy. So I pick Lashley to retain and to continue to retain after SummerSlam.
Now, Radical Romero said he thinks Kofi's going to pull off the upset. Dwayne Atkinson sent in a $3 super chat. Thank you, Dwayne. He says, squash match for Bobby, it needs to be. I'm with you on that, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's going to be back and forth. But yeah, I would love to see it. I would be very happy if it was a quick squash.
I don't mind it being a squash. I just don't think it can be what it was for Brock, because if that happens to Kofi again, he is forever on the goofy train. Forever. There is no going back after 2 of those losses. I'm sorry, there's not.
All right, let's throw it over to TJS. Maybe TJS will go in a different direction.
No. I mean, you could argue that Kofi's already on the goofy train, man. I don't know. I expect a 20-minute competitive match with Lashley winning. I would like for it to be a squash match as well, but they want the crowd, and the crowd's going to be cheering Kofi the whole time. I think they're going to boo Lashley, but in the end, I think Bobby Lashley will retain. And his reign sucks, by the way. I hope it gets better soon.
All right. On that note, we will get to the 2 Money in the Bank ladder matches. The first one is the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. We have the recently returned Zelina Vega, Asuka, last year's winner, Naomi, Alexa Bliss, Nikki A.S.H, Nikki almost a superhero, and Liv Morgan, who's been building up some momentum in recent weeks. We have Natalya and Tamina. So anyways, for the NoDQ predictions, we have our predictions league, and we have a primary pick and a second pick. Primary pick, if that person wins, you get 2 points. Secondary pick, you get 1 point. So each of us, and the chat room, you guys can do it as well. Give us your primary pick and your secondary pick for this match. I will go ahead and start for this one, since I don't think I've gone first yet. The betting odds favorite is Alexa Bliss, and she's arguably the one that's been pushed the strongest. She's the biggest star of this match, arguably. So I'm going to go with the safe pick, her being the primary winner. Second pick, there's a lot of options. Tamina is going to be my second pick. No, it's not going to be Tamina.
Caitlin, check it out. Go into the room and check. It's bad.
If Tamina wins, I might as well give away a free T-shirt to somebody, and I think I'm going to do that. If Tamina wins Money in the Bank, I will give away a free No DQ T-shirt, and I'm going to put up a tweet. You got to retweet it, but I will put that up. Jeff?
I will co-sign. If Tamina wins Money in the Bank, I will buy somebody a drink at SummerSlam at Allegiant Stadium, like an actual in-stadium drink, one of the expensive ones.
All right, then. So what I think for the secondary pick is I'm torn. I think Liv Morgan's been picking up some momentum, but I don't think it's going to be her. Could be Nikki A.S.H. She's got a little bit of momentum, but my secondary pick, I really don't think she's going to win, but I really want her to. And since I have my primary pick, I'm going to say her anyways. I want to see Naomi win it and go heel. I want to see her win it, cash it in on Bianca Belair on SmackDown, and join the bloodline. I really want that, but I don't think Naomi's going to win it. I doubt it. I just don't think they're going to do it. But I want it to happen, and since I have Alexa as my primary pick, I will go with that as my secondary pick. So now I'll throw it over to Caitlin. Caitlin, what are your thoughts?
So I'm also going to go Alexa Bliss #1. I pretty much always pick her for any of this type of stuff because I've been, up till when I kind of started drifting and watching a bit, I was really focused on her storyline, and she was always capturing my attention. So I'm going to stick with that and stick on her road. And then I'm going to go with Liv Morgan for #2.
All right. And regarding Asuka, I forgot to mention her. She had her push. They're not doing anything with her now. She's been losing matches. I think they've moved on away from Asuka, unfortunately. So, TJS, your thoughts?
Yeah, so secondary pick, I'm going with Zelina Vega. I think I could see her picking it up and then cashing in on Bianca because you need a heel. I'm going to go with one heel, one babyface, and I could see Zelina doing it. Primary, I think it's going to be Nikki A.S.H. I could see her winning it because they're really going for the all inspirational gimmick, and by the way, superhero is one word, so her acronym should not be Ash, but that's okay. I just see her winning it for some reason. I don't think it's going to be Bliss. I think something is going to develop between Bliss and The Fiend at some point, but I don't know. I just have this feeling about Ash, and my secondary, like I said, is Zelina, so we'll see, but I think it should be a good match. Jeff?
It's better about me going last in the women's match because I just detailed notes. Everybody said, one of y'all said what I said. Primary pick, Naomi, goes on to join the bloodline as a heel because they need a presence on that front. Secondary is I can't remember. I'm writing that. We can't be on writing. It's not good. So, what did I say? I said that it would be my secondary pick would be Natty because I always pick Natty, and that's I love her, and I like to see a little bit of.
I got her shirt on, Jeff.
Atta girl, there you go. I'm pretty sure it's one I have actually. It's hanging right here. I almost wore it today, but I wanted to be all promo-y. So yeah, Natty's my secondary pick. I like what they said about Alexa being cost the briefcase by Eva in some way because Alexa dared to punk Eva on Raw. You don't mess with Eva Marie. Oh God, no. I would love if Naomi would win, and that's my official pick because they've got to get this bloodline strong if they're going to start really building for The Rock in Dallas. They have to. And I agree with Colin 100%. The tag champion should not be in this match. So that's why I'm picking my secondary because they're in there. It's just too weird for that to be a thing that one of them wouldn't win. And like I said, if Tamina wins Money in the Bank, I will gladly buy somebody a adult beverage at Allegiant Stadium on August 21st.
Anything you wanted
Fair
to add,
enough.
TJS?
Yeah. Could you guys see something happening to where the winner wins, and then Doudrop comes out there and lays them out, and then Eva Marie says the winner of the match is Eva Marie, and she takes the case? I have a bad feeling now.
Oh, that sounds awful.
Well, that you
Don't
put
even
it out
suggest
there.
it.
Manifest this. Now it's going to happen.
That was very bad of you, TJS.
Jeez. Oh, my God.
All right. Let's move on to the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. We got Kevin Owens, Drew McIntyre, Matt Riddle, Ricochet, John Morrison, Big E, Shinsuke, Nakamura. Not going to try to do it the way Mick Boogs does it. But the King Nakamura. Thank you, Jeff. And Seth freaking Rollins. Now, I think Seth Rollins might be the betting odds favorite or second favorite. I don't think Rollins is going to win. I don't think he's winning Money in the Bank. And he was the last guy standing tall on SmackDown at the end. I definitely don't think he's winning it. I'll go first on this one. I think that the safe pick is Drew McIntyre. He's the biggest star in the match, and I could see him winning it and maybe cashing it in over on SmackDown or going heel at some point, cashing it in on Raw. So I'm going to go with the safe pick. Now, I'm a little bit torn with my second pick because you have a couple of interesting options. You got Big E. A lot of people want to see Big E win this one. And then you have Matt Riddle. But I feel like Riddle's going to continue his storyline with Orton, possibly going for the tag team titles, or Orton costs him Money in the Bank. That's also a possibility. So my second pick is going to be Big E, getting that next step towards the top, and maybe even trying to avenge Kofi Kingston against Bobby Lashley. You never know. But yeah, I will go with Big E as my secondary pick. Drew McIntyre will be my first pick. So TJS, we'll throw it over to you next. Your thoughts on this?
Yeah, so I've seen a lot of people fantasy booking where they say Big E's going to win and then challenge Lashley at SummerSlam to avenge the New Day. I don't see that. Man, I think primary, I'm also going to go Drew. Secondary, man, this is tough. I am going to say Kevin Owens as the secondary. It's been a while since he's had, a title or anything like that. I know he challenged Roman earlier in the year, but I could see Kev doing it. And then for Drew, I just had an idea of Goldberg beating Lashley at SummerSlam, and then Drew cashing in on Goldberg, so Goldberg wouldn't have to do a long reign, So, yeah, I think Drew primary, and then Kevin Owens as secondary.
TJS, you might have nailed it there. Drew wins and then cashes in on Goldberg after Goldberg beats Bobby Lashley for the title. So Goldberg, he doesn't have to commit to any more dates. That's his second date for 2021, and he's done. And that way Goldberg wins a match, and then he loses the title by having to fall victim to a guy who cashed it in. And maybe McIntyre goes heel at that point after that. Jeff is just pouting, but I think TJS nailed it.
My vacation? I mean, really.
You can see it happening. You know that you can. Think about it.
That's why I'm pouting. Like I said, if the Goldberg thing is the opening match and Money in the Bank opens up SummerSlam, I'm okay with that. That. Because then we send Billy Boy off into oblivion again, at least till January 1st. God help us. So yeah. So officially my secondary pick is Seth Rollins, and much like Darren there, and I'll tell you why. When was the last time we had a 2-time Money in the Bank winner? The man who changed the world today, 10 years ago. So besides Mr. Money in the Bank, Carmelo was 2-time, but that was that stupid finish with Ellsworth and whatever. But so yeah, the only 2-time Money in the Bank winners are the man who's main eventing tomorrow night and CM Punk. So that's my secondary pick. My primary pick is actually going to be, can you put the graphic one more time? I totally forgot the other 7 because I was so focused on Rollins and fixated on Goldberg's stupid self.
Wait, you forgot the lineup?
I forgot the full lineup because I had a whole spiel. Okay, here we go. So, yeah, I'm actually going to go with Drew as well based on what everybody just said here. However, I will say this. I'd like to issue a challenge to the chat room if he's there. If Psycho Jet Black is watching, if Ricochet wins Money in the Bank, I want him to donate the biggest super chat he's ever done, praising Ricochet's win. That's what I want to see happen. Because He has ridden him like a show pony forever on this. And damn it, if that guy wins the briefcase, he deserves all the freaking praise and the hallelujahs in the world because WWE finally figured the hell out. So that's my challenge out there to the chat room. But officially, I'm picking Drew because it's the only way I can be okay with Goldberg becoming champion again. And then my secondary is Seth Rollins just for the 2-time scenario.
All right, now we'll throw it over to Caitlin with her thoughts on Money in the Bank men's match.
Everyone has made a lot of sense, and it's made me want to kind of change what I picked, but I'm going to stick with what I wrote down. I'm going for the first pick as Big E, and I am going with Riddle for 2.
Wow.
Partly based on betting odds and partly based on just my gut feeling on this one, because I believe the second person for the betting odds was Seth Rollins, and I bypassed him and went to Riddle. So,
yeah, well, Riddle's
just
still a possibility.
going with my gut. Yeah. I mean
I could
there's
see
a lot of people on that lineup. A lot of good people.
I could see the bro in the bank shirts.
Bro, you got to think of marketing too. See, TJS is the
There you go.
man here. You got to go with the marketing. Bro in the
And
back.
TJS will show us all the second that shirt exists. I'll see it in the chat room.
I've seen these things for Riddle because it keeps happening.
Yeah. So for those of you, obviously, this is pretty much everybody except for our core chat group on Facebook. Like, TJS is always sending us the latest WWE shirt when it becomes available. So yeah, they can have the bro in the bank, and you know Vince, he loves the Riddle jokes. They can have all these jokes on Raw about what's inside the briefcase, and Riddle can talk about what's inside the briefcase. They can have weeks of these kind of jokes.
Why couldn't it lightened up 15 years ago? Like, really? Because RVD was Money in the Bank for how many months? That could have been golden material on television. Oh,
yeah.
God.
So Riddle could win it. And maybe Randy Orton gets jealous and Randy Orton costs Riddle his cash-in attempt at some point. Like, it's a possibility. It's definitely. I think Riddle's got to be, of the 8 competitors, he's got to be in the top 4 candidates to win it, I think.
Yeah. I honestly think Ricochet's the most unlikely, which is why I put the challenge out to Psycho Black, just because it's so far-fetched.
All right. So on that note, we will move on now to the main event. Even though Money in the Bank is a big draw, it's this main event that is the main event because it has the Universal Champion, the Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns, one-on-one with the Rated R Superstar Edge, their first ever one-on-one encounter. WrestleMania, you had Daniel Bryan in the mix. It was a triple threat, and now Edge is getting his one-on-one match after winning the Royal Rumble pay-per-view. This is going to be a hot match. This could be at a major pay-per-view like SummerSlam, and Money in the Bank is one of the bigger shows. And if you're going to have your first pay-per-view back with fans, you want to have a really big marquee match, and I think this fits the bill. So anyways, will we see a new champion? Will WWE go with a feel-good moment where Edge beats the bad guy and is triumphant with the return of fans? Or will WWE stick with the Tribal Chief as champion going into SummerSlam? And of course, there's the rumors about Roman Reigns versus John Cena. Does that match even need a title? It definitely looks like we're seeing Edge versus Seth Rollins at SummerSlam. And maybe Rollins costs Edge the match. What do you guys think? Jeff, we'll start with you on this one.
Like I said at the top with the SmackDown tag titles, in any other era, Edge would win and Seth would cash in and build toward a rematch at SummerSlam. Seth Rollins defending against Edge. But as Michael Cole is so fond of saying every Friday night, it's Roman Reigns' world. We just live in it, kids. It's really that simple. Roman is going to be the guy for as long as Vince sees that he's the guy and as long as the fans acknowledge that he's the guy. And they've really done that for a year now, since last SummerSlam. So I feel he's going to retain the championship here. It's going to be one of those where Edge throws every damn thing at Roman and exhausts his efforts. And it's going to come down to something that Edge makes the mistake, not necessarily Roman being dominant like he's been. He will, assert his dominance like he's always done. And I disagree with a lot of the chat as far as being sick of Roman. I love the presentation. I'm so happy we're getting fans with him now, because there'll be a great mix of, do we cheer? Do we not? What do we do? And I love it. It's great. So I think Roman will retain here, and I think we're going to see him keep on marching until August 21st, and we'll start that build in Cleveland on Friday.
Well, Jeff, I'm thinking that you're pretty accurate with those comments. My thing is that I wanted to see Roman Reigns stay champion for the long haul. However, I can see WWE having Edge win the title for that feel-good moment, and Reigns could always win it back. He could win it back on the next SmackDown as a ratings ploy. I would not be shocked if that happened, but it's hard to bet against Roman. Just like I used to say, it's hard to bet against Cena. It's hard to bet against Roman Reigns. And Virtue, he just sent in a $2 super chat, says, never bet against Roman Reigns. Believe that, love Virtue. And on that note, I'm going to pick Roman Reigns to retain the championship. There might be interference. There probably will be. But I would be fine if Roman won clean. I know it's not the feel-good ending, but you keep your champion strong, setting up SummerSlam, Reigns versus Cena for the title, Cena going for 17. I mean, can't really come up with a bigger main event than that other than Reigns versus The Rock, but you save that for WrestleMania. So, Caitlin, what are your thoughts on this one?
I think that it's going to be a very good match and that Roman will retain.
All right. Short and
sweet.
Love it.
TJS, would you like to go against us and say Edge?
No. I thought that people were going to turn on Edge, but no, they did not. On SmackDown, huge pop in this guy, and I think he deserves it. I think it's going to be a great match, though. You just have two badasses in there beating the hell out of each other. I think it's awesome. And I love Edge's character, where he's not just like a pure babyface. He'll do what he has to do to win. Ultimate opportunist. So I think Reigns is going to win. I could see something where Reigns just like chokes out Edge, and then that's the end of the match, but he doesn't let go. So then Seth comes out there, breaks up the hold, and then just beats up Edge himself. And I think that would be a great way to set up for their match. But yeah, I think Reigns is going to win.
And by the way, I forgot to mention that on SmackDown, Reigns tapped out too. So like that made Reigns look pretty weak to tap out. Yeah, I don't think he's losing that title on Sunday.
No.
And I'm hopeful.
And I'm fine with him keeping it.
Yeah, me too. And what Adil said in the chat from Facebook, I agree. I want to see Naomi win Money in the Bank, and Usos, they could do that at SummerSlam. Usos can win the titles at SummerSlam. Naomi can cash in at SummerSlam, and then Reigns beats Cena, and you end SummerSlam with the Bloodline with all the championships.
Spoiler alert, that's my prediction for August 21st.
I hope so. I would love to see that.
And now, I'll be rushing to the hotel quick to get on the phone with you when I'm done, because it'll be a hell of a lot of fun to talk about.
Absolutely. Hamp Connell sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you. Hamp says, Seth Rollins causes Edge to lose, and Money in the Bank will be the main event where Edge costs Rollins to end the show.
No. Nope. Don't buy it.
Well, see, Reigns is the main event. He either goes on first or he goes on last. And I don't think they're going to put Reigns and Edge on first. I really don't.
Well, no, it's not so much that. It's that they're not going to put Lashley and Kofi on last. That's the difference. Like, you phrase that properly. It's not about Reigns going first. It's about that Lashley-Kofi thing going on last, which is absurd from my perspective.
All right. So that wraps it up for our Money in the Bank predictions. Let's go ahead and do our plugs. TJS, we will start with you.
Yeah, NoDQ.com/TJS takes you to my Facebook page. I have changed my Twitter handle. I don't remember it, but if you can find it, feel free to follow me there. But yeah, Facebook is what I'm usually on the most. And of course, check out NoDQ.com/merch. Get all the good stuff. You can see the TJS shirt right there. It's good. Pick it up. It's great.
That is a cool shirt. Of course, I made it, so
Yeah.
I would always say that. Jeff, let's throw it over to you. You got a lot to plug, so go for it.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's everything as far as the links and the affiliates there with Greg and JJ's channels, but basically, got a big trip coming up. The end of next week, I'm going to be going into Atlanta and then into Chicago and then up into San Francisco for a little cross-country flight / road trip. Going to be covering the major points of wrestling in those areas. Like where I'm staying in Atlanta is pretty much where WCW's entire hub was. So that'll be cool. Going to go all over Chicago. In fact, I'm going to go to the place they were 10 years ago today, the Allstate Arena. And, of course, WrestleMania 2 was there. WrestleMania 13 was there. WrestleMania 22. There's been a lot of history in Chicago. So I'm looking forward to the trip. And then I'll be back on the air with all of that August 2nd. That'll be the first Talk Wrestling back. And then, like I said, boss, calling into you August 21st, half hour after the show when I'm hopefully in a quiet, secure location, Vegas, yeah, right? To do the recap with you. I mentioned earlier at the top of the show, a lot of crazy things have gone on this day. This is also this. I mentioned this in the chat yesterday because I wasn't sure I was going to be on today. This is the 1000th day that Nick Aldis is in his second reign with this. He's only one of, I think it said either 5 or 6 people to reach 1,000 days as NWA champion. So that's huge for Nick. Congratulations to him. They're going into St. Louis for the first time in for friggin' ever the end of next month, so that's cool for them. And Aaron's giggling very loudly. There's probably some chat.
Didn't he block you?
Nick did block me, and I don't know why. Like, I didn't say anything like I did with Taz or whatever. So I'm just trying to get unblocked for that. That's partially why I'm kissing butt. But I'm honestly.
Maybe he thought you were already kissing too much butt, and he was like, enough of this guy.
What's funny is usually when I get blocked by somebody that, high up, I either diss their wife, which I've never done. I love Mickey pieces. Or I've outright earned it like I did with Taz. I told Aaron when it happened, what happened with Taz. I earned that, and I embraced that one. So I'm looking forward to the NWA stuff the week after SummerSlam. I know I'm not going to get to go to St. Louis. Like I'm going to be passing through it pretty much on the plane, but a lot of cool stuff coming up for me. I'm very excited to be back to work. It was a quick break, quicker than I thought, but I'm happy to be coming back. So, anyway.
All right. Now we do have a $5 super chat from Hamp. He said, "I would like to see Seth almost win, and then Edge comes in with the huge spear from WrestleMania 17." That ain't gonna happen. Edge is not taking a bump like that.
No,
he's not jumping off any ladders at his age.
Yeah, he popped the biggest of all when he hits the ground and his neck falls apart again.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're not going to be seeing Edge doing something like that again. So that will have to be left to the imagination.
Or the imagination, since it was Jeff Hardy, huh?
There you go. All right, so now we will throw it over to Caitlin with her plugs.
Yeah, I don't have too much. NoDQ.com/Caitlin. Thanks
cute.
for that graphic there. Anyway, that will take you to my Twitter page. And yeah, I think female Aaron and I talked about today, we plan to do a video for SummerSlam because we haven't done one in a couple pay-per-views. So yeah, we will.
What city was that, Jeff?
Probably be back in action.
Pretty sure that was the Pittsburgh photo.
That is Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the hometown of Kurt Angle.
And Corey Graves.
And Corey
And
Graves. And a certain doctor.
We also went and saw the Abbey Lee Dance Company that day.
Oh, that's
For
cool.
any Dance Moms watchers out there, there's probably
I'm
none.
familiar with it, but
yeah. In case there is.
All right, so on that note, we will wrap this up. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Much appreciated. Enjoy Money in the Bank. I will be back after the pay-per-view for my live recap. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Enjoy wrestling, as Noah Foster would say, and stay positive, but not COVID positive. Take care, everybody, and we will see you all next time.